Well, I got my first ban on YouTube. If you want to see the video that YouTube banned, check out in the description below. It's Nate's Brain on Bitchute. I had covered a bunch of clips, a bunch of news clips of the riots going on across the world, especially in Europe right now. And YouTube did not like that. So I'm just going to use Tim Pool as my source today. That's it. And I'm also going to timestamp when I start talking about the timeline that I want to share about the upcoming months and years. So if you want to skip right to that, again, click the timestamp in the description. And why don't I just want to first talk about a few things before that? Is why don't I ever say like and subscribe and share and smash notification and follow me on Twitch and all that? Why don't I promote myself? Because it's not about me. It's not even about the message. It's about you, whoever's watching. I want you, whatever good I can provide, I want to put good in your life, and I want that good to spread to your friends, and I want you to pay it forward. And if you ever ask me, where do I get this enthusiasm from or this goodness from, it's not me. It doesn't come from me. That's God's goodness. He gets the credit. So if you want more for yourself, I mean, I can try to provide good as much as possible. If you want more for yourself in your own life, you need to have your own relationship with God. So there you go. Now, as for what I was, that actually points quite well to what I was trying to do in the summer, because I don't want to be giving warnings. I want you to actually taste good and not just avoid bad. So those that reported back seem to all be sharing their experience with like they were only planting cosmetic stuff. Actually, I think there's one person who reported back with a vegetable. But anyway, I was hoping more of you would have done something practical and not just the cosmetic stuff, because as you'll see in the timeline moving forward, all the suggestions I've been giving over this past year have been to make the period that's coming more bearable and to more have you prepared when it comes, and not for you to just panic when it comes and starving and whatever. Okay, so let's start our little discussion with Tim Pool's clip here.
Reporting the error yielded an error. He says, this is the video itself. For some reason or another, Facebook has taken the position that viewers should not be able to share videos of riot police arresting activists during election season. It's very, very strange. So what does this mean? You're temporarily restricted from complex entities' interactions until December 29th. Until the new year? Ford is banned from sharing these videos until the new year. Why? What's going to happen in December? Makes you think, doesn't it? I don't know.
And I do. So how do I know? Well, I pretty much suggested it in the last video, so I'll lay it out more explicitly here. Back when this all started, I did give some cryptic messaging. Is that this plan that you're seeing acted out is in response to another plan. Now, it should be pretty clear by now what original plan I'm referring to, and that's biblical prophecy. And so you have the Jesuits making a plan based off of that prophecy. They're making their own plan to maximize their influence, maximize suffering, maximize their authority within a certain limited time frame. So certain things have to happen in order, and they just have to happen, and things can't be drawn out for too long. So I can give, especially as things happen, I can get more and more specific. Okay, so let's get into the timeline here. What is the rest of 2020 going to look like? All right, so of course, tomorrow we have the election. Now, the election, I mentioned in the past that it doesn't really matter who wins. And if you've been looking at the debacle that is the mail-in ballots, you might start to understand why. There's enough mail-in problems that there's going to be weeks or months of uncertainty and finger pointing. And, oh, you game the system. No, you game the system. So there's going to be, it's not going to be a nice, clean election tomorrow. Even if it's a landslide, there's still going to be lots of finger pointing. Okay, so that is also going to lead to riots. Now, it can happen one of two ways. So there can be a slow escalation or a fast escalation. Now, slow escalation, that can be in reality that it's a slow escalation, or it can just be how the media frames it, and that they're restricting their coverage of the riots. Because right now there's a lot of hype about what's coming. A lot of, Tim Pool kind of pointed at it here in this video too. Is what's about to happen. So it could be, if it's a slow escalation, and this would be likely the likely path if Biden wins the election. So that's less likely. But it could also occur with Trump, the slow. But anyway, you're going to have the riots slowly escalate throughout the end of the year, and it's going to give the media an opportunity to further poo-poo any conspiracy theories. So it would disqualify those who said, "Yep, riots are going to happen," and whatnot. So now this is less likely because we're moving quite fast along this timeline now, and so this is my assessment. I think it's going to be the fast track, but it could be the slow, so I'm not ruling it out. Right? So there's the fast escalation, at which case it is as bad or worse than a lot of people are fearing in terms of the riots as a result of the election results. And that's more likely with the Trump victory. Now, also, along with throughout the rest of the year, you're going to have continued crumbling media reputation. So it doesn't matter which way it goes. The pundits have been wrong. It's going to further just undermine people's trust in the media. So that's going to continue happening throughout the end of 2020. You're also going to have continued global unrest. Oh, did I? I gotta mark that there. And localized food shortages, which can caused the global unrest, but it's not limited to food shortages. So we're already seeing some of these local food shortages issues and just supply line shortages in general are starting to, well, for months now, take effect. So a number of restaurants are still having a hard time secure beef supplies. All right. So that'll take us through the end of the year. Okay, so now 2021. I'm going to run out of room here. But that's okay. I'll just have to really short form. Oh, wait a minute. I can just shrink this. Yeah. There we go. You can still read that. Yeah. All right, so foreclosures. Well, I'm just going to say CARES Act. There we go. Nice platform. So in March 27th, 2020 is when the CARES Act officially started. And that's, it was already extended before it, where foreclosures and evictions were barred until the end of this year. So unless it's extended again, that's when you're going to start seeing foreclosures and evictions, is in January 2021. Now, if that's postponed again, it's only going to be damming up the consequences of the economic crash when it does occur. Now, so spring 2021, that's when because the CARE Act also says that you can defer mortgage payments up to a year. So starting a year from the introduction of that act, you're going to start seeing massive, the foreclosures started, like there's well, I wouldn't even say a trickle in January, but it's going to blow up starting in the spring of 2021. So I'm just going to say CARE Act runs out. There we go. And also throughout 2021, you're going to have more natural disasters. More natural disasters. And those localized food shortages are going to start to become global food shortages. Yes, even out here in North America. And thus, even more global unrest. More riots. More violence. Now, alongside of this, you're already seeing it now, and I shared that in the previous video. Again, link down in the description on Bitchute. You're seeing a growing interest in religion. And calls for peace and order. Okay, now, so this is pretty much set in stone, this timeline thus far. So I'm not going to bother typing out the rest, because the rest is more flexible in terms of how long it's going to be drawn out. So as early as spring 2021, if I was to use my assessment capabilities, I would put it summer to fall 2021. But as early as 2021 to about as late as 2024, you're actually going to see the economic collapse. It can't not happen at this point. The things that have been set up, it cannot be avoided at this point. Now, so once that collapse happens, so it's uncertain when the actual collapse will occur. But it is going to be in the next few years. And then the other uncertain bit is how long we're going to remain in that collapsed state. Because here's the whole point of all this nonsense. What is this all leading to? It is leading to getting people to a point of desperation. And this is why you're seeing this religious solution slowly brought in. So people are already primed for the solution. So they're going to be begging for peace and order and some stability. And then once people are finally at that state, then you're going to see the currency centralized. You're going to see the media de facto centralized, even though they may still seem to be a free media. It's going to be centralized, essentially. And you're going to have some semblance of order restored. And the Roman Catholic Church, you're going to see, as you're already seeing now, is going to see a massive return to prominence. Now, because it's uncertain how long it's going to be until the crash and how certain or how long it's going to be in that state of crash, it's not certain that the president that's determined, well, tomorrow, but over the coming months, is going to be the president in power at the time. But whoever's president at the time will be crediting the restoration to the Roman Catholic Church, and particularly its head. And what's going to happen after that is Sunday is going to be set aside to recognize the contributions of the Roman Catholic Church and its head and what they've done for humanity. Now, I've taken this plan to this stage before, just in less certain terms. Now I'm going to go farther now, but I want to put a little asterisk here. I'm just putting it here for anyone. Well, basically, click off now if this seems too far-fetched, because what I'm about to say next, it'll be hard to believe that society can so shift religiously in just a couple of years. So here's what's going to happen after that. And keep in mind, this isn't just business as usual. At this point, people have been starving the chaos. Throughout this, I'm going to be blunt. Many of you are going to be losing loved ones, and you and many of you might not even make it through what's coming. Okay, so what happens once this order is restored and credit is assigned to the Roman Catholic Church? Okay, the natural disasters are going to continue, and they're going to be framed in such a way such that they're going to be seen as a sign of God's displeasure with those that are holding out, those that are not worshiping the beast, in essence. So yes, this is fulfillment of prophecy. You're going to have an escalation of consequences with the escalation of the disasters. So initially, it's going to be positive motivation. It's like, hey, of course you're going to be along with everyone else to go forward, move humanity forward, and get along with the program. And but there's going to be people like me who refuse to pay homage to the very people who are responsible for all this nonsense in the first place. I refuse to forget about it. So it's going to keep getting harder and harder for those who refuse to pay homage. So there's going to be greater and greater consequences. It's not just going to be positive motivation. Now it's going to be, well, okay, now you're not going to be able to buy and sell. And you're already starting to see that right now. The ability to prevent people from, you're off of Google. Now you can't use any of Google services. And remember, all this is starting to, this is going to be centralized. They're going to be holding keys to the kingdom. So eventually this is going to be called, there's going to be a death order for all those who are not following in line. And yes, this seems like a hard sell from where we are at this very moment, but we are a lot closer than that than we were 6 months ago, and especially a year ago. So that's why I've waited so long to share to this point. Some of you may now start to see, now with the growing religious fascination, how it's going to play out like this. It's no longer a far stretch. Now, once the death order is called for the holdouts, then we have the end. Now, for me, it's very clear that this is the second coming of Jesus Christ. Now, you may go, okay, I don't believe that. Okay, fine, but I'm not accepting this. So if I'm a loon, if I'm wrong, this will kill me. Think about the planet you have left with all the natural disasters, and you're under the thumb of an authoritarian government. Good luck. So I hope you have God's goodness in your life, and you know for yourself, because I mean this is the alternative. Do you want to live in this? Yeah, I don't. Anyway, that's the timeline. So in the future, I do have a video coming up to that'll explain the different how you kind of sort sources, and why over there. Why I find Tim Pool a very good source for coverage, but not necessary for his assessment or suggestions. His suggestions actually have been fairly decent in terms of preparing, but as for why and where it's going. Anyway, that'll be for another video, and then I would like to do more positive coverage in the future. So you guys are up to speed. Thanks for tuning in. Catch you next time.